could start off just asking a little bit about more. Did you have any more reaction about Guy that you could give us, or?
It's disappointing to say the very least. So it's number one, first and foremost, we want to make sure that Guy has a chance, has a future, and he's going to stay with us and basically be a student assistant for us. And then our plan from there will be to help him to become a professional. We would like him to get his degree, certainly, and he's doing an excellent job in school. But we're just continuing to go through the planning stages for him. But I have trouble with seeing any wisdom in the decision. I really do. And I have great respect for how we handled it at Indiana. I have great respect for how the counsel that we got legally to work with it. It's an unfortunate situation, and it's just extremely disappointing that there wasn't any leniency given at all in this situation based on the circumstances. So you go back to what's at the top of this and how do we help him have a better future, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Will he at least be able to help you guys in practice and be able to practice along with you?
Yep, we can. We've got some leniency there, which is good. So, he's going to continue to be a huge part of the program, and he'll be with us every step of the way, and that's what I hope he'll continue to do. And then I have great confidence that he'll be a professional basketball player. And certainly when he went through those stages back in France, that wasn't the case. But it's disappointing on many levels. But this is the hardest working, outside of one young man I had at Marquette named Robert Jackson, played for us on our Final Four team. This is the hardest working young man, young big kid that I've ever been around. And I'm not just, I mean, everybody works in practice. I'm talking about the desire to be better and to do extra things all the time. And he was with us today. So he's gonna continue to learn a lot about the game. We'll try to help him with that. He's gonna have a role as far as being a student assistant coach, basically, for us. And again, I'm glad he stayed with us because this is his family now. And we want him to be very successful moving forward. And as disappointing as it is, that's what we have to stay focused on, is making sure that he has a future.
After going back and watching tape, what was really encouraging about the Boston College game?
Oh, I think the way we came back in the second half. There's no question about that. We did some really, really good things for about 15 minutes, and extremely good things. Had our chances to be right back in the game, and that doesn't happen if they're not playing at a high level on both ends, because we were playing against a really good team. There is no question about that. And those were good. And the things that we didn't do so well, were glaring. There may be a little slippage that we've had in games, even leading up to that, and that gets maybe disguised a little bit because you're winning, and you're winning pretty big. But at the same time, you have to keep improving. And I feel like we did that in the second half of that game. I feel like we did that today, and I hope we do that tomorrow and for the next few weeks. I hope we do that all year. But with the next few weeks the way they are, it gives us a chance to really lock into getting better.
You're playing a Savannah State team that the one-loss record isn't very good, but they've had some close games. I think an overtime game, a couple of tight games. Your thoughts on that?
Oh, they're much improved. Like any team that you see a couple of times like this, they're much improved. I mean, they had a chance to beat Dayton at Dayton, so they have a style. They're methodical in that style. They have a pace that they want to play at, and they have three really good players that make things happen. And what we've got to do is we've just got to really make sure that we understand what they want to do, let our concepts take care of the rest of it, but at the same time we've got to really make sure that we continue to execute on the offensive end and just show improvement in the areas that we weren't as good in the other night. So it's getting ready for a game in a short period of time, but it's also making sure that we eliminate game slippage as much as possible.
You talked about, one of the things you talked about after the Boston College game was just the 50-50 balls, just getting to those. How do you improve in areas such as that?
Oh, I think it's just a will. I think that's what it is. Some of it's positioning. There's always going to be, 20-30% the balls in that game are going to bounce a certain way that they're not really truly 50-50s. But I'm talking about those ones that it's you or me, and we didn't get enough of those, and at all. And we've got to be able to do that. And the only way you get that is through practice and just making sure that that ball is like a lifeline. You're not going to let it go, and that's what we have to continue to do. And that's, I think we'll be better there.
You mentioned Savannah State's style and their pace, I guess. What do they do to keep it that slow, basically?
Well, they run their offense through. They really run their offense through. They run a lot of ball screen, back screens, and cross screens. I mean, it's a good offense. You've got to be very diligent, and they wait for you to make a mistake. And they're pretty solid defensively. They're well coached, again, with Horace Broadnax. I mean, I like it because they're going to come in and they're going to have a good attitude, and they've been battle tested already. They've gone on the road and had some, where they could have gotten the win. So we've got to be good there, but it's really going to be about how we play defense, and you want to stay true to the game plan, stay true to your concepts, but at the same time we got to pick our aggressiveness way up. We're coming off a 25 deflection game, so we've got to get that. Those got to be trigger points for us. We've got to be much better there.
Did you guys take a small step back defensively, do you think, the other night?
First half, a bit more guarding the dribble than anything else. Then the second half, just on defense got us back in it. That and sharp execution. Moving the ball, and it doesn't make a lot of sense when a team shoots 50% to say defense got you back in it. But we were doing a good thing. We were limiting them to one shot. They were taking some tough shots. But when we made mistakes, when we turned our back to the man in the zone, Victor one time late in the game went to stun on the ball. We had the ball covered. They throw it to Reggie Jackson. If he's got his feet set, it's going in. And so they're a really, really good shooting team. And even better than what they were earlier in the year, better than what they were a year ago, and they made us pay for those. But whatever step we took back, we focused on getting it back today, and certainly we're going to want to do the same thing tomorrow because we didn't practice yesterday. We needed to take a day off this week, and I never take one off the day before a game. So
I'm not pretending to be a defensive tactician, but it seems like you guys are going under screens instead of fighting over the top of screens. I mean,
it all depends on how you want to play the pick and roll. Are you talking about pick and roll? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have different ways we play it. There's sometimes we're going to switch in the eye. There's sometimes we're gonna jam and go under. Sometimes we get caught in the screen. They did a very good job the other night of putting us in the screen. We took a major step back in the first half, pick and roll defense-wise. We weren't aggressive enough. We didn't get out and blitz the pick and roll and get it out of his hands enough, and that was part of the game plan. We had some deer in the headlights slippage a little bit, first road game. But we got that corrected in the second half for the most part. But they still made big plays and they made big shots when they got openings. And with that team, with guys like Ruben, and Paris has his best night of the year by far compared to the way he was shooting it. Going into Florida, they were in the high 20s from the three, and they had a pretty good shooting weekend in Florida. So they got their confidence back and they came home. And they made us pay a couple times. But we're going to play pick and rolls differently. And the way we play tomorrow night may be totally different than what we did last game, or what we do next week.
Because you have so many sophomores that have played big minutes, is it easy to forget sometimes that they are just sophomores and they're going to still make young guy mistakes?
I don't think of it like that as much, but in all honesty, probably. Yeah, because, they're young players, and they're young players that haven't had a lot of enduring successes yet. That's why the early schedule is important, to build confidence. And I've said this before, but no question about it, that Ferris State game did worlds of good for this team. To be able to come back from a game that the older guys might not have thought that we're going to win that game, and in the past, and to come back and get it as convincingly as they did at the end. So everything's an experience. The young guys really, because they had to play so much here a year ago when they might not have in normal situations. But then you're dealing with guys like Mo and Matt. It's really like starting over with them. So I get all that, but that's not our whole deal. Is we've just got to continue to defend better. We've got to guard the dribble better. We've got to be more active with our hands, and we've got to take it against any level of competition. There's no, we went against certainly better players the other night, and we went against a better executing team all the way across the board. But we got to turn our level up. We've got to move our feet a little bit better. We've got to keep our hands that active. You can't get 59 deflections in one game, turn around and get 25 in the other, and just put it on the competition level. You got to put it on how active we were, and we weren't active enough.